Hi everyone. I believe Miss Amina, you can proceed now.
Oh. Right. Hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope everyone is doing fine at home or wherever you are. So today we have a very interesting topic. Welcome to IUMW Media Webinar Series 3. Okay, we're going to have very interesting topic today, a very glam topic. So, but before that, let's start with a video session to introduce our university.
All right, Rita.
All right.
Chase down a brand new adventure. Step up, step out and enter in. There's no time for stalling. The wild is calling. When you risk it all, you learn to feel alive. Searching for new life. Reaching for new heights. Into the daylight. So open your eyes, we're making the climb, taking the dive, deep into the wild. Into the daylight. So open your eyes, we're making the climb, taking the dive, deep into the wild. Deep into the wild. Deep into deep into the wild.
Yes. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the one that just entered. I hope everyone is doing well now. Today we have a very interesting topic, which is Glam and Academia by our lovely, beautiful speaker, Dr. Mohanaapriya Sina Raja. So before that, let me start share about our special guest first. So Dr. Mohanaapriya graduated from our university, International University Malaya-Wales, with a PhD in professional communication and been awarded as valedictorian of the university in 2019. She is the best student of PhD in 2019. She started her career as a radio news writer and presenter at Extro, Malaysia in 2002, 2005. And then she also, so our lovely speaker as well have won the Miss Malaysia-India Global pageant in 2001. She went on to establish her own NGO, Miss Malaysia-India Care Association. She is now currently the Chief Operating Officer of Miss India Global, and of course, currently she also the news presenter of RTM. So let's welcome Dr. Mohanaapriya Sina Raja. Welcome, Doctor.
Hello.
How are you doing? Hello, how are you
I'm-
doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, great. You can see me as well.
Very
right?
nice to see you.
You can see me, right? My video works?
Yes,
Okay, I was
it
having
is,
some
yeah.
technical issues earlier, so just making sure everything's fine. Thank you so much, Amina, for that very nice and kind welcome. That was a lot of hype for me, but thank you.
You're
And,
welcome. Yeah, welcome.
thank you to all 61 participants. Wow, that's quite a number here at night. I normally do not do any kind of work at night, but special case for IUMW, so I'm obliging, and yeah, it's an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
We're very excited to have you to share. Maybe you could share your experience, your career experience with us, and also your study when you had your PhD with us in International University Malaya-Wales.
Sure. Sure, I'd love to. I'd love to do the sharing. Are we good to go?
Yes.
Yeah. Good to go.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks, Amina. Thank you, everybody. Everyone, welcome to my little sharing session today. And thank you for being here. And a big thank you to FCAM for inviting me to be part of this and to have the honor of sharing a little bit of what I went through in my journey so far. Okay, so I'd like to share screen. I've put together a few slides. Of course, I had to put this together uniquely for IUMW because I've never actually shared my own personal journey, and today would be the first time. Let's see, can you guys see the slides?
Yes.
You can? Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, so we went with this topic, Glam and Academia, because mainly because I have a parallel road that I walk on. Okay, so there were two parallel roads that are concurrent. You normally do not associate somebody who's in the entertainment or glam scene, so to speak, with the academic side, right? You do not normally associate. There are exceptions to the case, of course, but this is the road that I have walked. It's a little bit different and a little bit unique, and maybe if you hear my story, then you'll understand where I'm coming from. So today's sharing is about my journey, what I had gone through from the time I finished school, a little bit about what I did and how things happened for me. Okay, so as you know, I am a TV news presenter. I still am. I've been with RTM for 15 years now. And before that, I was a radio news presenter. I started out with radio in Astro. And I won the Miss Malaysia Indian Global Pageant in 2001, which is a long time ago, by the way, a long time ago. So it's a lot of pressure for me to make sure I look half decent, at least. And I'd like to say that I'm a PhD survivor. So if you have finished a PhD, I think you'll understand why I'm saying that I survived it. It's not an easy road, okay? Okay, so what is the point of today's sharing, right? My sharing, I just have this small thing. I'd like you to get into my shoes for a while, okay? And there are some lessons that I've learned along the way. Perhaps you'd like to listen to them and understand what the lessons are. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to learn from my mistakes and don't repeat the mistakes which I have made, and you can sidestep those pitfalls, okay? And
Yes.
I'd like you to remember to be prepared and to embrace any opportunity when it comes, okay? So which is a very, very important thing in anyone's life. Right. So a little bit about myself. So academic-wise, I actually did a degree in biomedical sciences. Yes, it has nothing to do with communications. I am a pure science student when I started out. I did science, pure science from 4, from 5, lower 6, upper 6. I got a degree entry to do biomedical science in UPM. And because I came from a very regular family, we could not afford private education. It was the only option available to me, right? So doing Form 6 and going into university. So it was either I take that or I go straight and start working. So to me, it was a no-brainer. I was going to take this and grab it. So I went to UPM, University Putra, Malaysia. And then right after I finished my degree, I realized that I did not want to continue working in that field, in the field of biomedical sciences. You must understand that this was 20 years ago. I graduated in 2001. So 20 years ago, there was no real prospect for someone with a biomedical science degree. There were very few things that you could do. And I realized at that point, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, but I did know that I did not want to be stuck in a lab the whole day, looking at specimens and not talking to people. All right, so that's how it started out for me, knowing what I did not want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I had the chance to do my master's, I had a sponsor and someone who offered to foot the whole bill of the master's program. And I grabbed that chance. Yes, it did fall into the lab. It was an opportunity which I didn't go out looking for, but I did put it out there, you know, telling people that I don't think I want to stay in biomedical sciences. I'd like to explore something else. So when the opportunity arose and I was given this scholarship, I grabbed it. I went to KDU, our local university. And I did my MBA, which was offered by the University of Lincoln, UK. All right. And after a long gap, right? So I did a lot of things in between, a lot of stuff. And then I came into IUMW to do my PhD. So this is my academic journey, right? So the PhD took another 4.5 years and I graduated very recently in December 2019. Okay, so this is my family, at least the family that I came from. I'm the eldest among 4 siblings. I've got 2 younger sisters and my brother's the last. So my dad was a civil servant. He worked with JKR. My mom was a housewife. And we come from a very, very regular, lower middle class, average Joe kind of family. Okay, so like, as I said, we didn't have the liberty of choosing where we'd like to go for a tertiary education. So UPM was one of the choices which I had applied for. I got it. It was I didn't even have to think twice. I just wanted to go and study. So that's how it happened for me, right?
Lovely family.
So I did, this is a picture of my graduation day, my biomedical sciences degree from UPM. Those, all the people surrounding me, I mean, it's a bit of a candid shot, but I thought it was nice. These were the clique which I had in university. So this was way back in 2001. This was after I did my MBA. This is one of the articles which came out in the papers. So why did it come out in the papers? This is a funny thing, right? The moment you win a title in a beauty pageant, people just assume that you're a bimbo. So it was a story that was interesting because I was one of the very few pageant winners who had a master's degree or who acquired a master's degree. So my graduation was a bit of a hoo-ha there. So this is, I think it came out in about 2 or 3 newspapers. I found one, so I took a picture for you guys today. So as you can see, to be honest, I think it's cliche to say beauty with brains. I think it's really cliche because who are we to judge who's beautiful, right? And this coming from someone who took part in a pageant. Well, I'll tell you about the pageant later, but the fact is, it's not a beauty pageant. And that's something that's very difficult for people to understand because they think a pageant is a beauty pageant. This was more of a personal empowerment pageant. And that was the reason why I took part, okay? But it was also a platform for me to understand myself, to grow and to use the platform wisely to do community work. And that's something which I continued doing after that, okay? And then this is a picture from my PhD convocation ceremony. This was in 2019, very recent. You can see me grinning from year to year. Very, very, very happy.
Congratulations, Doctor.
Very happy that I finished this. I was also the first Profcom PhD graduate from IUMW. So it was a tough journey, I must admit. I had a lot of ups and downs. I'll talk to you a little bit more about my downs later, but the fact is it got completed. The end finish was very sweet. And I'm very happy that I pulled through and I managed with the support of the university and the faculty, particularly Dr. Lisa. Right, now let's go to the glam. So which part of my life is glamorous actually? I'll be very honest with you on a personal note, because I'm telling you, this is coming from the horse's mouth, right? The glam factor is actually a very minuscule factor. It's the tip of the iceberg, right? You don't really see the work that goes on behind it. There's a lot of work that goes on behind it. There's a lot of stress that goes on behind all the things that we do. But the finished product is what you guys, the masses, the public sees. Okay, but let me run through quickly the things which I did, right? It's a little bit crazy, but here it is. I started out when I went to UPM as an undergraduate. I thought I'd make a little extra pocket money, and I was asked to be a part-time model, which I did. So I took up modeling as a part-time gig. And because, you know, I have the height, I had the body then, and I was trained as a catwalk model. So I went through the training, I joined an agency, so I became an actual model who went for catwalk events. I was put into editorials. I didn't do so much editorials, I did more catwalk. I was more of a catwalk model than editorial model. But I did do some print modeling and all that. I found some pictures, but I thought it might be a bit too much for me to show all the pictures. So, so I did a few years of that. And then in 2001, I took part in Miss Malaysia-India. And this was a pageant which is very unique for me, because it was a pageant that was promoting the wholesome woman. So there was no swimwear around and all that. And that caught my eye. For me, I didn't think it was right to parade around the swimwear. It's a personal choice, but I decided that was the pageant for me and I was going to take part. And I took part because I just wanted the experience. I didn't expect to win, but that happened. Okay, so I won. This is 2001. I went on to represent the country in the international event, which was in San Jose, California. And had a brilliant experience. Also ups and downs there, but it was a very strong personal growth kind of experience, because it's a harsh world out there. You know, the moment you're declared a pageant winner, everybody wants to criticize you. People look at you from top to bottom, and they'll find something which they have to be critical about. So you need to develop that thick skin, which was very difficult for me in the beginning. But as time went on, I realized, you know, it didn't matter what other people thought. But for a 23-year-old, from the time I started modeling, and people were already critical, and people, you know, you hear criticisms, you need to lose weight, or you need to look a certain way, or things like that. It's all appearance. It's all about your appearance, right? And it's very difficult if you have a low sense of self-worth. So for me, the pageant came at the right time, because the women who ran the pageant were all about uplifting, all about empowerment, especially the female empowerment. So for me, that was what lifted me up, self-esteem and self-worth wise. So I must be honest with you, things are a bit more difficult right now with the advent of social media. At that time, there was no social media. So we didn't have that aspect to worry about and to be harshly judged on. So it was it was a little bit more controlled. You could go out and do a press conference, and you have control of what's happening there, who are taking your pictures, what are the pictures that are going to be released to the press. Now everybody is a content creator, right? So everybody is doing their own thing. So if you make a boo-boo when you're 20 years old, you may regret it 20 years down the road. So this is something which I warn a lot of young people about. And so, as I said, it's a bit tough. Right now, things are tougher, right? So I'm not saying it was very easy when I was there, but at that time, the challenges were different. So right after that, while I was finishing my MBA, I was actually offered a job. And this job was something that I had no experience in. It was my first job. And they were looking for a radio news writer presenter. And the person who actually put my resume through was actually the pageant director, who thought that I had a good voice and I spoke well. So she said, you know what, you should give this a shot. So I went in blind. I had to learn the ropes from the beginning. But 3 years, I stuck it out for 3 years, being a radio news writer and presenter. This was at Astro. So if you've heard of AMP Radio Networks, that's their radio arm. And I was presenting and writing the news for Light FM, Mix FM, Hits FM. They all come under the same group, right? So I learned and I started the news part of my journey there, right? So remember that at the same time, I was still modeling. I was still doing shows. If you see this picture here in this collage, the one where, oh, sorry. The one where I'm right at the top right-hand corner, the one in me in red, short hair, that was actually in Tokyo. I was modeling for Bill Keith, and he took 10 of us, 10 models, 10 Malaysian models to Tokyo for 2 weeks to stay at the Hilton Tokyo, and we had high tea shows there every evening at 4:30 or something. So we showcased Malaysian couture. It was batik, very Malaysian inspired designs, right? So of course they wanted multiracial models. So there were no Caucasians. We were all Chinese, Malay, Indian, very Malaysian looks. And I had a blast. It was amazing. It was one of the highlights of the modeling part of my career. So 3 years in Astro, right? And then I get this opportunity to go to take a few of our pageant finalists to audition for the news at RTM. And I was asked to take the group, and I went with this 5 or 6 girls, and everybody auditioned one by one. So the audition is like this. You got to go to a studio, you sit in the studio, they give you the script. The script is also on the prompter, teleprompter. So you read what's there. They fix you up, right? Everything's very fast. They fix up your earpiece, they put your mic, and then they say, okay, just read off the prompter. So you read from the prompter without any training. Nobody trains you. So the idea is that they want to catch your raw capabilities first, and then they shortlist you. So I was there watching, coordinating and all that. And then I was told, why don't you give it a shot as well, since you're here? I said, okay, let me try. So I did this, and I was shortlisted. None of the other girls got it, but I was shortlisted. So maybe a bit of a luck factor played in here. I don't know. Until today, I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I got called again for the second round, and I went in, and that's how I started my journey with RTM. So that was in 2005, long time ago. So anyway, I joined RTM, never looked back after that. I joined actually as a broadcast journalist. So I started doing editing as well. And I also went out to do some special reports. So I would cover events. One of the things which I covered was a by-election where I interviewed the then Prime Minister. I think he was the deputy, I can't remember now, Najib, PM. No, he was the PM, the Prime Minister. I interviewed the Prime Minister, and then I covered the SEA Games. I've done the ASEAN Summit, which was held in Kuala Lumpur. I think that was 2015. SEA Games was 2017. It was crazy, but I'm fantastic experiences because you're actually camping out, you're out there on the field, and these are things that not many news anchors actually get to do. So you've got to be gung-ho and grab the opportunities, or you got to go searching for it. So the SEA Games actually happened because I told my boss, let's do something different for the news and let's, you know, be there in the thick of action. So we actually got to do live crossovers every day, the 14 days that the SEA Games was on. Okay, so who knows what's next, right? Maybe acting, I don't know, keeping the options open. Right, so these are a few pictures of me. That's Mr. Bill Keith, the one in white, quite a good friend of mine, gem of a person. He's a very, very, very big name in the fashion design industry in the country and a veteran. I think that was the Moda fashion show. The second picture is me at KL Fashion Week. Can't remember which year. The third black and white shot is one of the shots, one of my modeling days shoot, maybe 2006. I can't quite be sure actually. So remember those days there were no smartphones, right? So it is a different era altogether. Okay, so this is a bit of a more recent picture. This is me at a conference in Kyoto. Yes, this was after I started the PhD. I went to present one of my early papers in Kyoto, Japan. So I'd like to speak a little bit about the lessons that I've learned along the way, right? So big lesson, never take people for granted, especially your family members. We have to live with them, and sometimes things get very tense, right? But the fact is, they will always be there for you. And sometimes even if there's envy or a bit of a jealousy thing going on, which I had, even then, they always mean well for you. So just don't take people for granted, you know, just because they're your sibling or they're your spouse. Just don't, you know, be appreciative for what they are and who they are. Now, what's done is done. So my advice to you is, if things have gone bad, something has gone not the way you wanted, move on. Doesn't matter. Forget it, move on. All right? Don't dwell on the past. Be cordial to everybody, including your enemies. Better yet, don't have enemies. An enemy is only an enemy if you think it's an enemy, right? So don't. You don't like the person, it's okay, move away. You just don't want the negative energy around you. So it's very important that you don't take back that negative energy and dwell on it and start scheming and plotting and, you know, wanting to take revenge and things like that, because that eats you up inside. Okay, so forgive and forget, much better for your mental health. And my advice is always for you to strive to find your purpose, and don't fret if you haven't found it yet, because like I said, I had different pathways opening up for me, things which were not a continuous road. Everything seemed to be parallel and, like, you know, silos. So do I pursue it, or do I just give it a miss, saying, no, that's not where I'm heading, or that's not what I want to do? If you're sure, then it's fine. But many of us are not sure where we want to go, right? Many of us are not sure at all. My pathway kept changing. My degree was something else. My master's was something else. My PhD was something else. And the reason I did the PhD in communications was because I ended up being in the communications field. I was already in communications, media and communications for 15 years. So it made sense for me to expand my knowledge there, to experience, to learn, to understand the scholarly writings which were already there in that field. Because I've already spent so much time here, I've invested myself in this industry. So it doesn't make sense for me to go back and do a PhD in biomedical sciences or something, right? So that's the reason. So although I've done all that, I still love broadcasting and I still love presenting news. So I'd like to continue doing that. So who knows where the path will take me next, but it doesn't matter. Go with the flow, but be confident about going with the flow, right? Don't freak out. And it doesn't matter if you've not found your purpose yet. If you found what keeps you up at night with ideas and your passion and all that. If you found it, then great. And there are very few people who have found it, and be happy for them. But if you've not, it doesn't matter, because the time is still there. You can still strive to figure out what it is that you like and you love. Okay, now some of the mistakes which I have made, especially in the last 5-6 years, okay, especially while I was doing my PhD. Now the PhD is they say it's a marathon and not a sprint. It's a learning curve. It's an extremely humbling experience. And it's because you realize that what you know is so little compared to what's out there or what's yet to be discovered. Okay, so one of the things, there are a few lessons which I've learned, right? Personal lessons. Now let's talk about the personal lessons. I neglected my health in the hope of multitasking and juggling everything. So I didn't tell you about my current family, my own family. I'm married, I've got 2 kids, right? So my kids were, I think my youngest was 3.5 or 4 when I started the PhD. 4. So it was tough. It was tough. And when you're a woman, sometimes you are more conscious about how people look at you. And if you're a mom, you're more conscious about how people will judge you, right? You'll be wondering, they might think I'm a bad mom for neglecting the kids, or that I'm selfish for wanting to study, or that I'm money-minded for wanting to work. I went through all of that. I went through all of those phases. But at the end of the day, today, I realized that it really doesn't matter what others think. And you need to move away from the thought that of being affected by what others think, right? So I struggled very hard to multitask, to do everything, to juggle everything. So one of the things, something will give when you try to do all of that. So what gave? My health. I burnt out. I had a massive burnout. This was just before Dr. Nisa stepped in to FCAM, and it was a huge slump. I just couldn't do anything because it was a massive burnout situation. So I picked myself up very slowly and started to get back to my studies, and had to pull myself up with the support of family and friends and the faculty, and slowly made my way back academic-wise. But health-wise, I went to see so many doctors to understand what was going on with me. And it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve, right? Because when you're burnt out, you are depleted of minerals, you're depleted of vitamins, your adrenal glands have crashed, your sleep is affected. I became insomniac. I couldn't sleep. So that's actually one of the reasons why I mentioned earlier that I don't usually do any kind of work at night. It's because I have trouble sleeping after that. Okay, so that was one thing, right? So health, number 1. Number 2, closely linked to that is not dealing with stress the right way. I didn't have coping mechanisms. So one thing that the pandemic has done, I think, is to make people think about what their coping mechanisms are. So if you feel stressed, what is it that allows you to unwind? What is it that allows you to de-stress? Is it reading a book? Is it shutting off all gadgets and spending time with family? Or is it staying away from family and doing your own thing somewhere in a quiet corner of the house? If you're lucky enough to have a quiet corner in the house. There are many things that you would have discovered for yourself, right? You would have had a routine to go into when the MCO is declared. So dealing with stress is very important, and you need to figure out what it is that works for you, okay? And not taking up help when well-meaning people have offered me help. So when people have asked if, to help take care of the kids or to babysit and things like that, there are times where I've actually turned them down. And the reason is because I thought I could do it all. I thought I had to do it all. I thought it was important that I looked like I was doing it all. So something to think about, right? And as a public figure, as someone in the media, as a media personality, I gave too much attention to what others thought about me. And this, one of the aspects of this was actually social media. So I realized that I was too engaged on it, too involved in it, and borderline addicted to it. So then when I realized all of this, I started pulling away a little bit and then trying to find a balance with social media. Okay, so please understand that there is such a thing called social media addiction, and it can happen to anybody, anybody, even a 40-something-year-old woman. Right, so what are the things which I do on a daily basis today? And these are things that I've started practicing, and I've started doing this for the last, at least for the last 1 year, maybe even longer, 1.5 years. This was the last lap of my PhD already. When I was writing my thesis, I already started doing all of this, and it really, really helps. So I really wanted to share this with you guys. I know this has nothing to do with the title, but I thought it's important that I share it with you because it really works for me, okay? So very simple steps. I stop work after 5, no matter what it is I'm doing, replying emails and things like that. Any work-related thing ends at 5 o'clock, okay? Then I spend time with the family, and I switch off my phone by 9 p.m. every night. And I literally mean switch off. I put it on airplane mode, okay? And then I'm in bed by 10 p.m. In bed, not necessarily asleep, but I try to sleep as soon as that I can. I start unwinding. So no more phones when I'm in bed, right? I don't look at the phone, because you must understand that blue screen, you've heard all this thing about blue screens, right? It is the truth. Blue screens, they really affect your sleep, and they mess with your endocrine system, okay? So no caffeine after 4 p.m. So I stopped coffee 2 years ago, but I love my teh tarik. So that's a little bit difficult to give up. So what I've told myself is I'm going to do it earlier in the day and then stop, not to have it too close to the evenings. And I go for daily walks as long as the weather is fine, no rain. Just a quick short walk around my neighborhood. And this happened even during MCO, when we were allowed to walk in our neighborhoods. So that was my exercise. And I go for yoga twice a week. So this is a physical class, which I go to on Saturdays, but because of the MCO and the pandemic, it's been online, but it's something that I do not miss. Okay, so something I'd like you to think about. We make choices, right? Every day we make choices. Our choices, our present, and our future. What's happening now and what's going to happen to you in the future all depends on the choices that you have made. So make conscious choices, okay? And if you're not happy with something right now, make the change. Make a choice to make the change, okay? So is it luck or preparation where I am today? What do you think? I'd like to think that it's a combination of both, but the fact is you can only move forward or grab an opportunity or excel if you have prepared for it when the opportunity comes. So in my case, being in radio for 3 years was something that I was doing over and over and over again every day. But I was also very conscious about improving myself every day. So when the opportunity came suddenly to audition for TV, I already had my pronunciation, my diction, my intonation, my tone of voice, everything was already there. So then it was a matter of getting my body language right and my presentation skills correct. So whatever it is that you want to do, even if you're not sure what it is, my advice to you is always be prepared. Work on the skills that are necessary so that when the opportunity comes, and it will come because you want it. You've heard of the law of attraction, right? You think about it, you feel it in your heart, and you verbalize it, it will come. So when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it, okay? And with that, I'd like to say thank you for listening in. And I'm actually done. Sorry, I didn't have a look at the chat.
No, it's all right. Dr. Mohana, that is it's very inspiring, and you were a strong woman. You've been
Thank you.
struggling, had your achievements, you were a mother as well. Yet you still have, you can balance your life. It is true that social media is a problem nowadays, but sometimes it's a good thing as well. So yeah, we
Yeah,
really
there are definitely pros and cons. It's not, I'm not saying it's completely bad. It's just finding that balance, because the balance is different for each person, right? You can't expect somebody to just because someone else is loud on social media, it doesn't mean that you have a right to expect every other personality to be loud and bold on social media. People work differently, and you don't have to conform to that mold. So that's something that's very important for us to remember.
Right. So Dr. Mohana, we do have a question
Yes.
from Mr. Shawwal, our dear lecturer. Any advice for an up and coming PhD candidate?
PhD candidates. Okay. My advice. Okay. Let me tell you what mistake I made. Then maybe you can figure out what you should do. The mistake I made was not doing my research in terms of my research area, identifying what area I wanted to go into before I jumped into it. So when you're signing up, I suggest you also have an idea of what it is that you want to study. So I'm not just talking about the main subject, I'm talking about which area of study you'd like to go into. And this doesn't mean that it's got to be that one particular subject matter. It can be 2 or 3 options. So if it's, for example, let's say I'm interested in health communication, I'm also interested in social media. I'm also interested in volunteerism. So which one should I pick? You don't crack your head about that. Study all 3. Go into all 3. Look at the literature that's already outside there. See if it's an area that's already well expanded and there are already well-known scholars in the area. You can already start doing the work early. So what I'm saying is, when you sign up, start doing your work immediately on your own, because a PhD student has to be independent. You cannot wait to be spoon-fed. You shouldn't, because then it's really your work, your own interest. So that would be my advice, that you start early with the preparations.
Okay, start early, yeah, students. So we do have another question from Sarah. I really respect you so much, and I just wanted to say that before I tell my question, I'm a person who is an overthinker. How do you block it out?
I want to say I am also, but I think I was an overthinker. I'm not one anymore. So unfortunately, it took me a crash to realize that I should not be an overthinker. But I hope you don't get to that point. Sarah, right? So just remember that whatever you do, it will matter to you and maybe your immediate family, but you should not overthink and worry about what others think about what you're doing or how you look and things like that. You shouldn't. And I know it's easy for me to say it, but the fact is you need to improve on your own self-worth and self-esteem so that you can get to that point where you don't overthink. If you have good self-esteem and you have good self-worth, you will get to a point where you do not need to overthink. So people overthink when they're worried, right? When they feel like, what will people say? Or what if I make this mistake? What will happen? So what if you make a mistake? Doesn't matter. You make the mistake because you will learn from it. Don't repeat the mistake. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, stop overthinking. I mean, think more about yourself. So, yeah, so we have a question from Michelle. Love your education journey, doctor. Is it really tough to cope with a PhD or master's that is completely different from your degree? Any advice on this? Yeah.
Yes, it is tough. It's not impossible to do, but if you have your focus and dedication and the willingness to learn, it is possible. It's not easy though. So if you don't have the basics of a particular subject matter, my advice to you is that you have to work double or triple harder than the other person. You have to go back to the basics, understand the fundamentals, understand what are the basic tenets of whatever subject matter you're studying. For example, if it's communications, understand the theories, go and find out who are the big names out there. You don't have to study everything. There's no such thing as learning every single thing that's out there, right? There's no such thing. So get some advice. If your lecturer is approachable, get your lecturer's advice. Find out what are the basic books, what are the go-to kind of textbooks that you can use, and use that. Sorry, am I still screen sharing here?
Yeah, it is still.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I should stop
It's
this.
all right.
Hang on. How do I stop screen sharing? Dah. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So yeah, so we have to, that's what you got to do lah. It's not impossible, but yes, it will be tougher, but doable.
So, yeah.
I did it.
So, Doctor, we have a question from Jadin.
Mhm.
He asks, is it okay if he asks, what is the average salary of those who work in your career line?
No, it's not okay.
To ask.
No,
Okay.
it's not okay, but I will tell you this, it varies. So it varies depending on whether you're in the public sector and if you're in the private sector. I must also tell you that people like me, we are freelancers, right? So I'm not a civil servant, I'm a freelancer. I'm hired to only present the news, then I come back home and that's it. I don't work there 9 to 5. So if you're a civil servant, it's a different salary scale, right? So if you're a freelancer like me, many of my colleagues actually do other things outside. They MC events, they work in corporate comm, they are PR practitioners. So they actually have either full-time jobs or they freelance in other areas of work. So like MCing events is actually quite lucrative. It's just that now for the last 2 years, it's 1.5 years, it's been crazy because no events, right? So you got to find,
Yeah.
you need to adapt. You need to adapt very fast. And the thing is, that's how people survive. You just don't want to survive, right? You want to thrive. So upskill yourself, get new knowledge. How do you upskill? Doing an MBA is one way of upskilling. That's
Yeah,
one
that's
way
true.
of, yeah, getting yourself armed with something extra, so you're not wasting time. If you're not sure, just go out there and find information. If you're not sure whether the information is legit or whether you're looking at the right thing, speak to people. The thing about Malaysians is we are very shy. We really malu want to ask people questions and we feel like, oh, no lah, I don't want to, so shy. You have to ask. You have to ask for your own survival. You have to go out there and ask. Okay, so even if you're an introvert or you're a shy malu type of person, doesn't matter. You go out there and ask the questions. You don't want to talk to the person, text the person or approach the person in some other way. I don't know, stalk them on Instagram, something.
Yeah. Just try to learn from others and also keep asking people. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing
True.
is, if there's one thing that I think it's a personal motto, okay, for me, is when I said improving yourself every day, try to find who's the icon in your industry. Try to find who's the best and look at them, observe them, see how they work, see their work ethics, see what it is that makes them stand out, stand apart. So you want to understand what it is, because at the end of the day, if you don't keep learning and understanding and evolving, you will just be stagnant. Yeah. So you must improve.
adapt with the situation and evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have another question. I think this is from student named Nina. She have a question. If a person's career is highly dependent on being active on social media, content creator,
Mhm.
influencer, okay, so how do we maintain a good balance between our lifestyle and keeping up with the trends, especially if your target audience is people from different parts of the world with different time zones.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can you just tell me that last part again? How do you cope with being a media personality? Yes.
Meaning that being a content creator for
Mhm.
social media. So how
Yeah.
do you how do they have want to have a good balance for their lifestyle, and because their target audience is also people from other parts of the world. Yeah.
Okay. This is well, it's challenging. It's not tough, it's challenging, but you need to have your own personal boundaries, okay, about when you will work and when you will stop. I know lots of people who keep working, and because the internet doesn't sleep,
Yeah.
maybe their bosses expect them not to sleep as well. I don't know. But the fact is, at some point, you will reach a burnout stage. Okay. You will not be working at your optimum. You will not be thriving. You won't be able to give your best because you can't focus, and you will be depleting yourself inside. So you need to have that work-life balance, which is very, very important. And my suggestion is for you to start now. Most of you are very young people. You're already exposed to social media. You already know how to content create. You know the pitfalls, you know the backlash that you can have from social media. And being a content creator for something that's has a worldwide audience is fantastic, but it comes at a price, right? Which is your own personal life. So prioritize your health, see what you need. Your sleep hours is very important. So like what I told you earlier, shut off the phone at some point. You have to. Because if the phone is on, there will be something for you to look at. You will be tempted to look at the phone. So if you don't stick to a very strict routine, you will end up somewhere where you don't want to be. So please do not do that. Just get a routine fixed for yourself. Make sure your sleep is taken care of. Make sure your meals are taken care of. If you have to supplement. And the other thing is also the mental health. Mental health aspect is very important. So check on yourself, your own mental health. Find ways to figure out if you're stressed or overstressed or overworked. If you are overworked, you need to do something about it. There's a very well-known coach called Jeevan Sahadevan, and he always says this, right? He says everybody needs, no matter how hard you work, right? Whether you're a moderate worker or you work really hard and you know go crazy, you need 4 vacations a year. Apparently science has shown this, that you need 4 vacations a year. Okay, when I say 4 vacations, I don't mean you fly off to the Maldives and things like that, but a break, a proper break, which is at least 2 or 3 days. We need it as humans to thrive. Okay, so think about that. And if you're someone who works really hard, good, work hard, play hard. So get those breaks and make sure that's already penciled in. So if we can't go out traveling, that's fine. Maybe a 3-day break is just getting off social media. Take a vacation. If you're your own boss, it's even easier, right? You just plan it out for yourselves. So 4 times a year. So every 3 months, you have a 3 or 4 day break. I'm not doing any work. Go off the grid.
So keep yourself balanced and have a break sometimes, not just like work hard and take care of yourself. So we have last question, doctor, if we may. We know
Yes,
it's your,
no problem.
your for you.
It's flown. It's already 8:55.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
the question.
let's have question. Yeah, they're really into it. So, okay, last question. How do you overcome self-doubt into broadcasting, and also how you gain confidence to talk in front of people?
I get this question all the time. Okay, the thing is to just go out there and do it. Okay, so the good thing is we now have camera phones, right? We can actually record ourselves and we can actually look at ourselves again and again. So this is something which I didn't have the luxury of. So all I could do was get nervous, work myself up before each news bulletin, and then try to calm myself down. So what you guys can do is actually to record yourself. If, let's say it's the news, okay, it could be anything. It could be singing on a stage, it could be public speaking, it could be anything that requires you to speak in front of people, right? In front of people or a camera. So what I would suggest is to record yourself doing whatever it is that you want to do. For example, if it's giving a speech, right? All you need to do is get yourself recorded properly and then view your presentation. View it, watch it with a critical eye. See what it is that you can change. Maybe it's the tone, maybe you speak too fast, maybe it's too much body movement. You could hire somebody to have a look. If you're really serious about this, right? Get someone to consult. Hire someone to consult and look at your presentation. If it's something like TV news, that's the thing. You will never really know until you're actually there doing it live, right? But you can actually record yourself and review. Another thing you could do is to watch a lot of news bulletins on the TV. So don't stick to Malaysian news. Watch CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. Watch the big guys. Learn from the best, right? So that's something that you can do and try to gain your confidence. The fact is, confidence comes with more and more practice. So if you keep repeating, keep doing the same thing over and over again, your neurons in your brains will actually figure out that, oh yeah, I've done this before, so it's okay. I've done this before. So you will get more and more confident as you go around.
So just keep doing it and practice more.
Yes, practice.
Alright.
It's always practice.
Okay, Doctor, thank you so much for your time. We're really honored to have you tonight.
Thank
We
you.
know
I'm
that
so
it's
sorry if I took up
you-
too much time.
No, we are very honored to have you. We would like to thank you from our academic team, from our all lecturer, and we also have our dean here, Dr. Nurunisa as well here.
Dr. Nisa. Hi, Dr. Nisa.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
How are you? Nice to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And I think some of my former students are here as well. Hi to all of you. Hope you guys are doing well.
Picture.
Sorry?
Can everyone turn on the camera so I can have a picture?
Sure, yes.
Okay, 1, 2, wait, everyone is coming in. Yeah, okay, perhaps you can have a picture now. 1, 2. Oh, wait. Come on. All right. Got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
Shawa.
much, Doctor.
Thank you, Shawa. Thank you, Amina. Thank you, Safrina. Thank you, Dr. Nisa.
For your
Bye.
time. Before that, we do have a review from our academic, for our lecturer, Puan Safrina, for our program review.
So much, Dr. Mohana, for the very good sharing. So I'll now begin with our preview for our Master of Professional Communication subject. All right. So this is the history of IUMW, a collaboration between University of Wales and University of Malaya. All right, so our program overview is that our program are industry driven. We have a lot of broad opportunities. We have quality lecturers as well as we are using real world case studies. And this is the sixth benefit if you are registered with us. Master of Professional Communication, we are MQA accreditation. We only have weekend classes. Only 7 live classes. We have 100% assessment. We do not have any final exam, and our courses are taught by professionals and industry experts. And the minimum of only 3 semesters to earn your master's degree. All right. So why we need to earn a master's in communication studies is that because our subjects are very interesting. We can pursue exciting careers, and also we can develop new skills. All right. So these are the delivery mode of our program. Our duration is only 1.5 years, 3 semesters minimum. And the entire entry requirements, we are open to Malaysian students and international students. Our delivery methods, online platform, and also hybrid. We have 50% of online and 50% physical. And this is the module structure of our Master of Arts Professional Communication. For semester 1, we have 5 subjects: Communication Theory, Profcom, Organcom, IMC, and also we do have 2 elective which you can select. And these are the syllabus for semester 2. And semester 3, only 1 subject, Media Law and Ethics, and the other one would be your research project. And these are our academic team profile. This is our Dean of Faculty, Dr. Nurunisa Omar. And we have Professor Dr. Mahadi Murad and Madam Cik Nur Amalina Shazwani. We do have here our head of school, Sir Shawal, and myself as the coordinator. And this is the 5 reasons why we need to study Master of Art Professional Com, because our programs are, leadership and people management. We can stand out of crowd and ahead of others in your industry. We have thought leadership, networking, we can make connections and people connections as well. And we can manage difficult situations and foresee problems ahead of time to avoid. All right, this is the statistic of expected job growth, 1.12 million employment rate, wide range of industries, and demand growing faster than other occupation. All right, so where can IUMW degree takes you? These are companies that our alumni are working now. We have Petronas, Maybank, Toyota, KPMG, and also in Asia. These are our alumni. Miss Juliana Abdul Rahim, Juju. She's now working at Gallery Petronas under their art engagement unit. And also Mr. Wadi Asaf. He's now a business owner for several business startups and also a part-time lecturer at An-Najah National University, Palestine. So that's all for our program preview for Master of Professional Communication. Do join us. Thank you, Miss Amina.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mohana.
Yeah, it's been a long night and the mirror's telling me to go home. But it's been a long time since I felt this good on my own. A lot of years went by with my hands tied up in your ropes. Forever and ever, no more. The midnight